we'll stream a stream of consciousness. I think that's a great way to do it. And we are Cardboard Odyssey, so thank you everybody for joining us. Saturday 7 p.m. we are doing our cardboard conversations. So please and thank you if you enjoy this type of content. If you like that long form chatting, go ahead, hit that like, subscribe, do all that cool stuff. If you want more, we do channel memberships, Patreon if you're nasty. Cool, I did all the showing.
Do we have a Patreon?
We had one. I mean, heck if I know if it's still up.
We're not trying to get your money. We're trying to get your love.
Exactly.
And if you love us, go ahead and hit that subscribe and like and share it around with your friends. But what we're going to talk about tonight,
trying to get some people's love, time capsule. We got to get together, dude. Enshrouded just came out with another update. As always, they're doing huge content drops absolutely for free. So some higher end players are going to have a lot more for building experiences and exploration. So might get together with one of our channel members here and go do some exploring.
Yeah, I've actually finally taken a break from the path of exile.
I saw, yeah.
Kind of in a game hole at the moment, but like a show hole, but it's a game hole.
Okay.
But I did finally open up and crack the TCG card shop simulator.
Okay, and how was it?
A dozen hours.
A few dozen hours. Okay.
It was monotonous. Like after,
yeah.
it was just very grindy, like rather quickly.
Oh yeah. Once you start having to give people change and stuff, it takes away a lot of the excitement there. And I hired as many people as I could as quick as I could. So I would just sit in the back ripping wrappers the whole time.
Well, I just ripped the wrappers after 9 o'clock because that seems to be like the most efficient use of your time.
Time doesn't exist before you open or after you close. It's a very odd setup.
Well, and not only that, like hiring people, the people I hired sucked.
Oh, they're so slow. Absolutely. Yeah.
And I'm like, all right. Well, and at the end of the day, I made like half of the money. I'm like, okay. No, you're too slow. Get out of here. But and I didn't even hire the first schmuck that you could hire. I hired the second guy that's supposedly normal at the cash register. If that's normal, God help employers out there.
Yeah, so it's like actual workers.
I don't know. I feel I give my company pretty good value for their money. I always have. But yes, the people around me
maybe not so much
have annoyed me. Yeah. Like it's not that they specifically annoy me. It annoys me that they get paid as much or nearly as much as I do.
Oh my God. Yeah.
The rest of the work.
Yeah. I was complaining to one of my coworkers on Thursday before I took off. Hey, what up, Ernesto? I was saying, I could see on one of our spreadsheets I was working on with one of my other coworkers. Well, I was working on it and she had just stayed inactive on one cell for over 2.5 hours. It's like, I gotta say something. This is just upsetting how much money has been wasted on just idiocy and laziness.
Yeah. I mean,
speaking of wasting money on idiocy and laziness, what do you think about these fancy new basic lands, Bob?
Oh, we talked about it behind the scenes. Are we deep enough in this to like not care about monetization? I love your moniker for these lands.
The piss lands, honestly. I can't think anything worth of it. This is somebody who doesn't drink enough water and they just soaked a forest. Because honestly, this is just kind of ridiculous to me. It feels, and I said this last week with Matt, it's similar to how they did the double features where they took a piece of artwork and then just went stylized with it. They just clicked background and fill with a different color. And I think these are supposed to be gold. That's the real kicker here is they didn't go for a gold color. It comes off very much
not just
yellow.
The lands. Like,
no,
a whole bunch of cards that have this yellow treatment.
Yeah, there's 127 lands on these. Yeah, no, not the Vulcan.
No, not the inappropriate Vijay land Lair. No, not that one. I am kind of interested in the
and we'll be getting into secret layers later. So guys, wait for the second half of the show on that. Like I said, we're going to be discussing the future of Magic, not just the cards, but how they're coming out to us now. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah, I mean, this is the next set that's coming out, right? And then, correct
Yeah,
me if I'm wrong, but
wait.
we've got a couple months after this one, right?
Yeah, that I was just looking at that. It's about 2.5 full months before we are onto our next set, which is a surprising stretch in between sets. We're used to such a rapid pace of releases that now this is kind of nice to see that we're going to have this breathing room, especially for standard, to have some time to settle down and get used to the new entries.
Well, what it caused is, think about it, and I'm going to be totally transparent with you, the audience here. Pat and I, literally being Magic the Gathering content creators, could not come up with Duskborn as the name of this horror set that just
Oh
came
yeah, for
out
sure.
6
Yeah.
months ago, right?
Not
Still
even.
in
Yeah,
print,
barely. Yeah.
and couldn't even name it. That's what's happening. That's what's happening with the Magic audience. Think about if content creators are forgetting the names of sets within 6 months of them coming out. What does that tell you about the general Magic audience
Well,
out
and a
there?
lot of the cards that fill these sets too, that's an unfortunate byproduct is how many cards are going to get looked over just because there have been so many sets, each one coming between 250 and 350 cards on average. I doubt that we think of more than 100 cards per set that really stick around, that have any staying power. So,
Oh, I think you're
unfortunately,
being generous. For a
quite,
standard set?
quite, yeah.
Oh, you're probably talking about 10 cards in a set that actually have any relevance, really.
Kind of nuts to think the super majority of cards are just forgettable.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I'll bet you it's not more than, not more than 20 cards in just about
Mm,
any given set. I'm not talking about reprint sets that target cards that are important. I'm talking about standard sets that come out. Not likely more than 20 of them in any standard set stick around with any staying power. Now, Foundations, it's essentially a reprint set. It is a howdy. It's a howdy. Mateus
I'm just
Zawad.
going with Matt. Yeah.
I nailed it. Right, nailed that
Boom.
pronunciation. Gotcha.
Worldly fella right here.
But
Multilingual.
I think it's always been a bit thin for just about any set. But I don't recall that like back the heyday for me was back around from Mirage through Nemesis, right? Like that's probably the high point of
That
Magic for
that's
me.
the block for you, the
It's not
era
just a
right
block.
there.
There's several blocks in there, but
Mhm.
it's about a 4-year stretch during Magic's history, probably more like 3.5. But you did know the cards, even the commons, right?
Mm.
Like they had a place in 2.5 back then. Or was it 1 point? No, it was 2.0. They did the formats differently back then. There's type 1, type 1.5, type 2. But in what would be considered standard, it's every card felt more important, right? And if they
Oh
had a
yeah.
tribal, it had more
And
relevance.
they were impactful too, as we moved from one set to one set and from block to block as well. There were cards that really had staying power that were impactful. I mean, Platinum Angel, that's like a 15-year-old card, and that still sees some plays in pods. So I think to that, to your point, absolutely. There were cards that stuck around that you remembered that you wanted to keep playing with.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, we could pick out individuals here and there, but I mean, like the Viashinos, there's people playing Viashino decks. It was a little more fun, and it wasn't this absolute race to either win the game by turn 4 or the game was pretty much set by turn 4. Like
Mm,
that would have been very boring back in the day, and I probably would have lost interest very quickly had that been the standard, like is what you see on Arena. And that's why I
mm.
just don't play Arena, because it is rapidly very boring, and I don't even want to qualify for a tournament if what I'm going to do is pilot one of 4 decks. That's like I don't want to do that. That's
I
not
think for me, one of
enticing.
the reasons I don't play Arena is if I'm going to play on my computer, I've got a bevy of other games that I could certainly play that I'd rather play. Big old monitor, right? Might as well take advantage of it. So it would definitely be a mobile experience. And I'm not really one to game on my phone. I was sitting in the doctor's office for, 40 minutes waiting for the doctor here and there. I think that was the most I've played in the last year. So it's just unfortunately experience not quite made for me.
But I would say that, there's still Commander, right?
Do
we talk about
yeah.
Pokemon tangentially? Like, we don't talk about Pokemon play because
nobody talks about Pokemon play. It's
but we talk about Pokemon to some extent, like other games, which we
it's definitely tangentially related, and
we talk about like box prices and
market movements and how some people consumerism in general, how people are want to spend their money on something that is more or less gambling, speculation certainly across the board.
I think the bigger problem with Pokemon for us is that none of us partake of the three of us here on this channel. For whatever reason, just none of us partake because it's not really.
It's too cute. It's too innocent, honestly.
But not only that, it's just not even like of the three of us, it'd probably be me that would do Pokemon like from a collectible, investable standpoint, but I don't have faith in it.
Yeah, Bob. Why do you hate Pokemon so much?
It's not that I hate Pokemon. I think that it's an environment that I didn't grow up in, so I have no looks like Reddit mod. I don't know which one that is, you or me.
I don't know. Either one. I think that's impressive, right? Isn't that a compliment?
I am a Reddit mod. No, I'm not. But first off, I don't have the nostalgia connection to Pokemon. I did buy Pokemon for my daughter, so I have some light connection there. But Pokemon really didn't become valuable, really, in the collectible space until, until the Jake Paul thing, or Logan Paul, right?
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
That's when it got visibility. And I think that that's sort of a dangerous speculation
that's a terrible way to enter like the zeitgeist. To become popular is that is some rich fluke of an idiot starts, parading your highest quality product around. Yeah, it's not a great look. Luckily, Magic was famous and well established before the One Ring hunt began.
Oh yeah. Well, and if you look at Pokemon, even looking at Rudy, right? It's almost a meme with his Pokemon bathroom cards that are now thousands of dollars, a box, and it's concerning to me, the Johnny come lately is, which is also why I really crypto isn't my thing, even though it's like super duper high now.
Dogecoin to $1,000,
dude. If I can just get Shiba Inu coin up to a penny a share, I'm very rich. Yeah, we are.
Thank everybody here in chat. I love the lively back and forth, and the light trolling it keeps me on my feet. It's helpful, my attentiveness.
But so for Pokemon, it's not that we're adverse to it, and we do mention it from time to time. I don't think we get into like single sets. We have looked at like movements of boxes, which, funny enough, it was something I was doing this week. But before we get into any of that, I want to continue talking about the hot topic, which is going to be Aether Drift for this week. And before that, circling back to the Innistrad, I don't know if you watched the professor open his box.
Yes. Yeah.
I
didn't go through the whole thing, though, unfortunately. So I'm not quite sure about how it ended.
Do you want a spoiler?
Give it to me.
Because, it'd be weird if I don't talk about it now. I don't like the fact that, even though it was a $360 box, and on release day, he got $700 and something in value out of it. Because I'm going to bet that even, just a few days later here, that
the market
$700 something in value
calculated
is very, very far from that $700 that he got. And even at that, he probably had a very good box, because that kind of arbitrage just doesn't. That's a word for you, Dual Brain. Some arbitrage.
Arbitrage.
That doesn't make sense to have $360 boxes having $700 cards in them. But that's a set that we know is like just difficult to get your hands on, right? It's not a highly available set. I think when I last looked, I didn't see any for sale on TCG Player.
Oh, Jeremy, you make a phenomenal point there. They're saying that they think one of the big things, the only thing I love about Pokemon is that every Pokemon is someone's favorite for some reason or another. And honestly, I totally feel that.
Well,
I think
that's if
that's
you're into
a huge thing.
That's if you're into Pokemon and even know what they are, right?
I mean, some people just say Pikachu. Even now it's just been so socially exposed. Everybody knows Pokemon, even kind of tangentially. I think it's definitely a big thing. Doesn't really do anything for me, which is funny. When I was a kid, I saw the first Pokemon movie in theaters because it was made for my generation. I played the games when I was a child. I had two of them on two different Game Boys and would trade them back and forth like a giant loser that I am. But it just didn't really have staying power for me. I kind of outgrew the adorableness and innocence to it. Because if Pokemon actually existed, I mean, come on, there are dragons that breathe fire and stuff. Like, it'd be pretty wild, man.
Well, I mean, what I'm saying with that is generationally, like, it is very much a generational appeal, right? It doesn't appeal to me. I'm too old for that generation of Pokemon. Did I play Pokemon back in the mid 90s on my Nintendo Game Boy Color? Sure. However, it didn't really sink its hooks into me, right? And I didn't collect the game. I didn't watch the cartoons. It wasn't something my daughter was truly raised on.
I guess that's one of the funny crossovers is like, shout out to Matt here saying they're more of a Digimon guy. I watched Digimon numbers of the seasons when I was a kid. Even as an adult, I kind of started rewatching them. I never cared to play any of the games. Magic is so in-depth. It's incredibly complicated mechanically game. And that's one of the things I love about it is that there is so much depth to it. And I don't know if other games have that. Certainly from what I've seen of Pokemon, nobody actually plays it. And there certainly is not top tier engagement in the same way you have with Magic.
Yeah, I don't know, but if you're talking about, are you talking about Digimon or are you talking about Pokemon?
Let's go with Pokemon because it is, I think, the most equitable thing to Magic in the
I think it probably has more digital engagement. People still play Pokemon.
Oh yeah, no, that's a great point. Pokemon Go was huge, and they just came out with another one that has like booster pack opening to it, and they're looking to have an arena type in play with other people. So
and Magic can't even hold a candle to it in the public presence, right? They can't compete because they haven't even tried in the media presence, right? Like not just commercials, but they never came out with the live action that was supposed to come out. They just haven't, whatever reason, Magic seems to misfire in that regard, right? That so many other games can do. Magic just doesn't seem to be able to.
It's an interesting point. Magic has had so many years and so many opportunities with their marketing budget. I mean, they're owned by a company that makes toys, for God's sakes, and they don't have other things to engage with it. I mean, a small 30-minute movie to put on some Disney Channel, like a Netflix crossover that they've done with so many other companies. They really do have a big backlog of lore that they are just not sharing in any way outside of their cards.
I mean, if they were smart, they would be more creative.
But, I mean,
if they were smarter, they would have a more creative approach. Like, I believe in harnessing free, labor out there. And They're getting free labor off
crowdsource
of
ideas. Yeah, I
well,
see.
they're getting free labor off of you and I right now, promoting their product. It's getting airtime to
Yeah,
whatever degree. Multiply that by all of the content creators out there. They're not
yeah,
paying us,
yeah,
and
exactly.
they're getting free work that way. But imagine, just think for a second, if you will, if they opened up a contest and offered prize support um, for in today's digital world, creating shorts, right? And I don't mean short like as in 60-second shorts, but like short films and
Okay.
submitting them for magic content, magic lore, right?
Mm.
They don't have to release it to the public. They couldn't stop us anyways, maybe.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
But imagine promoting that, getting the built-in audience out there.
Well,
People are
it's
making some pretty amazing
yeah.
shit on their iPhones
And
to
it's
submit.
definitely worked out. There was a guy, I am Nightwall. He did the same thing for Fallout. You probably saw him, a big bombastic hair, and he'd make, if you wanted to trade in Fallout 4, this is what it was like. And he got quite popular on YouTube from it, to the point where they actually invited him to the set of the Fallout TV show when they were doing the premiere. And if Magic took the opportunity to engage with their content creators, which is their audience, they'd have that much more goodwill, which is one of the things they've lost over and over.
Well, and what triggers me thinking about things like that is if you go to like a Magic Con and you look at the level of effort that people put into just the costumes that they do for the cosplay there, that they have judged cosplay contests. I'll guarantee you there's other creative people in digital media that
Oh,
would
yeah.
love to make a submission and get, just to get the street cred to get blessed by WotC for their short film, right? And you could just have, like I said, there's a lack of, I don't know, foresight, if you will. I like my biggest problem with Magic is honestly, and it has been for a while, the mismanagement of the IP. Like I think they have a
Mm.
golden goose and they just don't know what to do with
I mean, right here is a great example of that. Yeah. Where is the MTG themed anime? I think that that's a great example of it, that people would look forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm not a creative. I'm not a creative guy. I'm an IT guy. Love you, Sherry.
I mean,
Thanks,
we're
by the way.
creative in our own way.
But what I'm saying is, I'm a software developer. I am not somebody who plays with digital media. I don't make movies on my own. But that's a whole thing that goes on out there.
Mm.
Fan-made films. Look at some of these trailers. They get me all the time with like, oh shit, that's not a real movie that's coming out, but they're
Yeah,
fantastic
yeah,
trailers.
yeah.
And soon we'll see,
Titanic 2.
just like small, I don't want to say not just trailers, but actual small films, small releases that are high enough quality to say, damn, they should expand that into a movie, right? We're entering that age, and especially with AI, there's just so much opportunity, and it doesn't feel like WotC, specifically Magic the Gathering, is embracing it. Like, I don't know, did you watch that? Oh, it's on Netflix. They did a short, like, it was like 28 minutes long D&D thing based on, but it's lots of video games. They did Warhammer.
Oh, Secret
Dungeons.
Level.
Yeah. Why is Magic
I've
the
seen
Gathering not on a
some of
secret?
those. Yeah.
Why don't they have a Magic the Gathering one?
Well, and there was also Love, Death, Robots, which was an assortment of different visual effects artists all doing shorts, varied length. Some were 2 or 3 minutes, and some were almost full-length episodes of a show. And again, to your point, there's an incredible opportunity that Wizards is just not tapping into. And it's, again, as you had mentioned, the people that get into like cosplay, that dress up when they go to conventions, that's where it is such a great example that there is enthusiasm in the community to partake in some of the lore. They want to have that. And I think in the upcoming MagicCon Chicago, February 21 to 23, we are going to see a lot of people dressed up, probably in stuff from Aether Drift. They might even tune up some of their cars, put some crazy stuff on it.
Not sure what you mean by second person game there, Matt, but I don't consider myself a particularly creative person.
I certainly do. I mean, come on, Commander Raids, that definitely,
Well, that was a collaborative effort, and it was,
it's a different type of creative. Some people are
sure,
not
but
artistic. You're not
what
you're not a
I mean is,
drawer.
to the level of like what already people are doing out there, and all I'm saying is that I'm not paid to be that. I'm not in charge of Watsy's IPs. I'm not trying to
Right.
make a business successful based off my creative ideas, but it feels like there's kind of a lack of vision other than just wheezing the juice of what they already have. Like they're not progressing the wheel forward, right? That they're kind of stewing on what they've done just for a very long time.
Oh yeah. It doesn't feel like they're trying to expand what their offerings are to people. I think they're just trying to trim down a little bit here, add a little bit here, restructure some of the things that they're already producing. And it is kind of stifling. It is not adding anything to it, which unfortunate as it is, but that's part of, sadly, what I think is the future of Magic the Gathering, is that
Well,
we're in a weird growth right now. It's quite popular, but to what
well,
end?
I think I honestly, in short, what I think the future of Magic is, and unfortunately, as it may be, actually, I'd like you to leave your background up.
Hmm.
That's the future, where we're going to see more Marvel Secret Lairs,
Yep.
more SpongeBob's, more Universes Beyond is just what is catching. And, that's what's going to stick. And so that's what's working at the moment, that and Secret Lairs, and we'll transition to that in a minute. But, rather than really taking a different tact, and breaking into different spaces, like Pokemon was a beloved IP before it was a game, and then it transitioned to a game. But why can't a game as popular as Magic transition into multimedia? And I think that there's been an outcry for it. I think there's just, for whatever reason, a lack of vision. If you don't want to pay the money, then fan source it, crowdsource it,
Right.
just kickstart
Yeah.
it if you need to.
I mean, there was a phenomenal web creation somebody had made called Astartes for Warhammer 40K. It was so incredibly popular, the company hired him to be part of this Secret Lair episode on Netflix, and then they're making another one and putting it out on their own network. And it is just because he was so dedicated and in love with the franchise that he made content about it. And that is the type of story that Magic the Gathering just does not really seem to have. Or if they do, they're not being forward with it. They're not touting that, hey, we love our audience. They love us so much, and we engage with them in such a deep and intrinsic way that they're now part of our company.
Yeah, I don't know. It just feels to me like they're missing opportunities all over the place. Like, and I don't mean just with card games, with TCGs. I mean just with their brand, right? So instead of expanding their brand, they're actually diluting their brand with other brands.
What I do think, and again, future Magic the Gathering thing they are excelling at incredibly right now, is that crossover with other IPs. We just recently saw some Secret Lairs with the Marvel crossovers that absolutely crushed it. And continuing going forward, I would expect that we see more and more of that. We're seeing full tentpole releases, as they say, with Spider-Man coming up, and it's certainly going to be something with the Universes Beyond full set at the end of the year as well. There's an incredible amount of speculation that it might be the Avatar, The Last Airbender, and if so, that's just going to be a lot of nostalgia bait that could well work out.
Yeah, sorry about my camera. I don't know what just happened there. Boy, since I switched to this new and improved computer, it sure loves to not work very much for me.
Hey, at least you don't have to screw with Audio Banana tonight.
Audio Banana, that was bananas. Yeah, this is
so
terrible.
that's kind of the marketing on this. Jeremy Richardson says here in chat, I definitely get the hate for crossovers, but I can't lie. Marvel was the thing that was going to pull me into MTG if my brother didn't do it first. And I think that it's working. It does. I mean, you were incredibly hyped for Lord of the Rings, and there is still a lot of incredible love for it. You can see by the price of some of their products.
Well, don't get me wrong. It's not.
Can't be both new and improved.
It's not a hate specifically for crossover. It is a disgust for lack of creativity for new content for their own IP, right? I think there is a place for crossover, but it shouldn't replace their own native IP. And if we're looking at a couple of the latest sets here, with Duskmorn being a Magic IP and Aether Drift being a Magic IP, I think they're kind of missing the mark, to be quite frank.
It does seem quite odd. I mean, Outlaws at Thunder Junction seemed like an incredible departure, and quickly from some core Magic, almost like they took a train to get away from where I thought we were. But now they're continuing right along with it. I mean, Streets of New Capenna, with all of the Gilded Century stuff that they were doing, I thought was as far as we would really go for quite a while. But now with Aether Drift, I mean, it's pretty much Hot Wheels, but in Magic the Gathering universe.
Well, and the art choices are bizarre.
It is something else, and all of the different versions. That's really one of the kickers. They're showcase versions that look like rat rods. It's like stickers from the 1980s. I just don't know how to describe it, except not something I like.
I am going to ask you to carry the load here for a second while I try to restart. I've done everything else I can to try to kick my camera back off again. It's working in Elgato, so I know my computer can see it, but for whatever reason, OBS is just not having it. So if you want to carry it and you want to start talking about the secret layers, and I'm going to leave a cliffhanger before I come back here, that there is actually a secret layer that I am interested in that I see coming up. I will be right back, folks.
Ooh. So I will go ahead and present some of the secret layer stuff. Oh, I got to turn off HDR. Okay. Yes, this has occurred before. Hold on, guys. Bear with me for just a second while we get that off. There we go. That should look a hair better for you. So one of the reasons these cards don't look better, and specifically, is because what they are. So this is a new way to sell secret layers. Magic the Gathering and Wizards of the Coast at large was already selling direct to consumer with their original release of the Secret Layer line. This, if you did not know, you can just go onto their website and buy cards. Now, it's getting so popular, unfortunately, that when really sought after sets, like the recent Marvel set, it is so popular that it actually breaks the Cloudflare server hosting that they have. Yes, this is Slimer, and that's what we're going to talk about. Is some sets are so sought after that it will break the servers, and people almost have to hack the site to be able to purchase the product line. And after the fact, because it is so rare, it can be more than double the price. Again, the recent secret layer of Marvel. And some are just so poorly selling that they have now started doing a chaos vault. So what this is it's secret layers that just didn't sell well. So let's go to the shop all here. You can see lands and lands and lands. Nobody is ever interested in buying 10 basic lands for $40. Yeah, Magic can be expensive, but Matt, you can also be really smart about how you play or engage with it. We are very proxy friendly on the channel here, and it's one of the cheapest ways to engage with Magic. But as we continue down, I mean, original $40, now it's $25 because nobody wanted this. It's so far removed, double-sided cards that all look like fancy invitations. This looks like something cool off of Pinterest, but this is just a different way to sell overstock. They don't want to hold product from one inventory season to the next. So when did we get this Secret Lair Chucky? This was probably from a year ago. Same thing with Ghostbusters. These are from seasons past, but because they're just not selling, they keep them here. Yeah, this much for lands is kind of ridiculous. Yeah, and they're all just not something that I'm interested in by any stretch. The reason I say that, and it's probably a shared opinion, is because they are here in this new Chaos Vault edition. So it's just extra stuff that they want to sell that they can't. It's dang shame, Bob.
Yeah, I'm sorry I missed that. Apparently I needed to restart. I don't understand. Sorry about that, folks.
It's the same thing my doctor tells me. Turn yourself off, turn yourself back on. You'll feel better in the morning.
But there's an upcoming Secret Lair that I actually am interested in, but it was leaked. What is his name? It's a Japanese guy that does waifu art.
Oh, Shazam! Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, Magic definitely can be expensive, and if you're getting into things like Secret Lairs or collectors products, it can be incredibly expensive.
He's got it. It was for the winter drop upcoming, and it has. They're all waifu cards, so it even turned like a dude into like what's his name, Brago, into the Hatsune Miku Secret Lair.
Oh, they put Brago and Drago. That's interesting.
It's I can't, forgive me for not, having that name right off the tip of my tongue, but it's Hatsune.
Sure.
See if I can bring it up for you guys. I liked the art that was on it, and I like the cards because it's got Giada in there. It's got the Youthful Valkyrie in there. Dookie. Oh, I can only oh, here we go. Okay. So I do have it. Let me start sharing because I'm an old man. Did I look at the arcade Secret Lair? Ooh, not sure. I don't think I have. But here we go. This is going to look terrible. So let me try to.
Yeah, tall and skinny, like a runway model.
And let me see if I can just open this up. Well, if I open it up in a new tab, I don't think it will share the new tab. Oh. So we're going to skinify what I have here, and hopefully that'll be good enough. But you guys can get the idea here. Because of course it's going to shrink it down when I try to shrink down.
Just hate it.
Open the image in a new tab. Why is it doing this? All right. Well, we're going to try to do it this way, folks, and I'm going to share a different screen. Stop screen, present, share screen, Reddit Secret Lair. This should look better, but it's still kind of. Oh, why is it doing that?
Oh, we got to maximum. That's as good as you're getting.
That's as good as I'm getting, and it's kind of hard to see.
It's another Hatsune Miku again.
What's that?
It's another edition by the artist Hatsune Miku, correct?
Yeah, and there's actually an image that I can show, but it doesn't show the full card. But you guys get the idea. That's coming out, and I think they accidentally leaked this Secret Lair, at least according to the historian. Magic Historian is where I saw this. Let me see if I can get a better look at least one card. Hopefully this will be a little better to get the idea of what the art style is. And it does interest me. Not that I'm like a big waifu guy, but these are attractive, and they're angel cards for Sherry's angel deck, my fiance. The only deck that she really likes at all is her angel deck. And this has 2 angels in it that are actually already in her deck. So if I can get this at the regular price, I have a feeling that this is going to sell out rather quickly because there are a bunch of
weebs,
waifu loving
giant internet losers, pervs.
waifu loving Magic fans out there.
I have to be like, I'm anxious every time I go down to my LGS, the rare few, to play Commander with other people, and they unroll their tube that's got their playmat in it. And it's just like, oh, please don't be weird. Don't be weird. And I mean, it's just an odd thing that comes up in our play, like our social atmospheres, you know.
So, I mean, I do like the art. It has angels in there. It also has another card that I want. Swan Song is getting a reprint in it. So
cool.
I have no Swan Songs.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't mind picking up a play set of that. And if I can get these at the, $29.99, but I don't know if that's ever going to come back, the $29.99s. Other than the scratch and dent lot that you were showing when I came back.
Yeah, the Chaos Vault stuff. Yeah.
I'm so not a fan of that because it just feels like, hey,
it's a great way to put it. It's
art.
a scratch and dent section of Secret Lair.
It pretty much is. I mean,
no, that's a great example of it. And I mean, when it first came out, Matt was actually quite excited, and he bought a few Secret Lairs right from it because they were misprinted. There was like a coma card that had like the wrong wording or a symbol on it. So he was quite excited to get them, and they were on the cheap, but it's because they were wrong. Very much so, the scratch and dent version.
So again, I thought this was going to have it because it was supposed to be part of the winter bundle. I guess not. But I guess there was some Hatsune Miku stuff that was supposed to be on this. I'm looking at the okay, apparently I'm just completely wrong. But Secret Lair, I think, is definitely here to stay.
Oh, good God, yeah. I mean, it's just done so well, and there are great. It's a great use for a couple of cards to show off an artist. I think things like this. I don't know who Hatsune Miku is. This isn't really my type of art style, but I think this is a great time for someone to have 3 to 5 different pieces of artwork, and maybe they're so sought after that they become featured again. But I think this is great. If we saw stuff like Todd McFarlane that create a Spawn and he's doing 5 cards, man, that'd be freaking awesome. And they've kind of done that here and there. And with some of the IP crossover stuff that they do, some of these are really expensive too. They looking at you, Walking Dead Secret Lair, Princess Bride, you know who you are.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I had gotten the the Princess Bride Secret Lair. That really, you're kind of you're picking at my Dominaria remastered there.
That's a scab. That's a scar.
Yeah. I'm really not happy that I missed out on that because it was really so perfect for really our closest friends here. The guy that made, oh, well, that's awesome. These deck boxes, the one I gave to Nikachu, these really high quality leather deck boxes that he made for me. He also made that Nicol Bolas statue that's in my,
that thing is insanely nice.
He's good. He also made that, Han Solo blaster that's in my foyer. And so it would have been nice to get him something. Yeah, him and his wife are very much into.
Let us know in the comment section. What are some of the artists or studios, some of the type of artwork you'd like to see as crossovers for Secret Lairs? Like I said, Todd McFarlane from the Spawn series. I like that dark grittiness, the 90s Batman animated series. That is gorgeous. That type of dark thematic stuff. Maybe even Studio Ghibli. That would be a cute, fun crossover.
Well, we're going to get at least some cartoon crossovers with SpongeBob coming up.
Oh, my freaking God. So I am not a fan of SpongeBob. And it was like all the rage when I was in middle high school, when I was growing up. It was the biggest thing. My freaking dad calls me Patrick Starfish from time to time. And I hate it so much. But It's going to do so well, Bob. We know it, don't we?
Pat and Bob.
No, yeah, right. But that's Secret Lair. It's going to do really well.
I'm buying it. I have SpongeBob. I have SpongeBob golf balls.
Jeez, they're yellow.
Yeah,
yeah,
good. Yeah. There's certainly, and to your point there, Jeremy, there's just a lot of room for them to really kind of take opportunities that they just haven't quite grasped yet. And I'll bet, they could do this at reasonable costs for much of what we're talking about tonight. And I would say that the message for the future of Magic is that I think they need to start getting some more foresight, some more creative thinking. Hell, get AI to do it for them.
Bob, I think they have, and that's
well, I don't mean just their art. I mean, how about make some, hey, what about some suggestions for how to expand our brand? Not just, hey, can you make an art card for this?
Well, and that's one of the interesting things is how much I actually use ChatGPT as something to bounce ideas off of, to workshop with. I mean, don't get me wrong. I make a picture of a red panda doing something adorable every single workday because I'm a hard worker, but it's also very fun to workshop, to use, to build ideas with. And absolutely, what are some of the ways that we could try and help connect with our audience? We're a big company. Maybe we'll do that for our next show. We'll have a 15 segment where we use ChatGPT and we just come up with ideas that Magic the Gathering never would have and would go over swimmingly. We'll use it and just have it as, growth for our channel. We'll be those ambassadors for Magic. And to your artistic shout out, Jeremy, Clayton Crane is an incredible artist. I'm looking at some of his stuff now. Definitely cannot share on screen because it is incredibly detailed. This guy is good. I like the tentacle work that he's done with some of the Venom. Very good call. And dark enough too. If he toned it down a little bit, he might be able to make it on.
Yeah, I mean, they could do a lot more that way. I think they're doing more with artists and reach outs and crossovers and extra work with artists than they are in thinking in lateral ways to expand their brand, right? They do get different artists to come in. So I'll say, give them a little bit of credit because Hatsune Miku was not a MTG stable artist. It wasn't somebody that was in there.
Right. Yeah.
Pool of artists,
but people who've created previous.
But they need to do more, right? Not just the different artists, because if they're going to depend on that, they're going to run out of, the newness of that. They'll Watsify it, And I think that they really need to expand. And I think media is the logical step for that, to sort of bridge other venues that they could use it.
Yeah, absolutely. And nowadays it's easier to make virtual stuff than ever before. They don't need to do much live action. If anything, that's kind of a waste of some of their talents. Get a good digital artist in and make some shorts. I mean, legit shorts, 60-second long vertical form videos of just some cool stuff. I've seen some interesting animations of Magic the Gathering cards and artwork from other channels, like when Jimmy and Josh and all them boys, when they do some of their artwork, when they've got their background animations going on, there's some really interesting stuff that they could explore into. I'd like to see some more of that. Honestly,
would you like to watch a short of maybe the background story or the backstory of the Craterhoof Behemoth stomping around?
Oh, right. And that would be a great outlet for it. Oh, Bob, perfect. Instead of you doing, hey, this is Craterhoof Behemoth, and we talk about it for 60 seconds, it's you show the card, or You have the creature kind of exploring its background, and then boom, it jumps into position, and that's the artwork that is the card, and that's how you finish it. Cute, funny, good way to do it. You get to explore a lot of the backlog. Will never happen unless we do it, because Magic doesn't have the balls to.
I'm just saying that they need to come up with something to push their brand outside of just the card game.
Yeah. And shit, man, sell plushies or something. They're doing so much with this loot character. I have not seen a single thing that I can buy. A keychain, a sticker. I think even a little plushie of it. Like that's just the perfect home run sales item.
Oh, I don't even know if I could show. I don't know if this is going to show up, but this is actually from Magic 30 in Vegas, the first one. And it's a 2-foot statue that was just out in the hallway when I was walking by. And I said, oh my God, I want one of those.
Oh yeah. Fibblethip. Yeah.
Like just even marketing that. And even like the Nicol Bolas, like the reason I had my buddy make that statue is because I couldn't get my hands. There was another one that was like, I guess, commissioned. And if you look out there, it's about $1,000.
Jeez.
But I couldn't even just get my hands on it.
Yeah.
So imagine if they were selling those things, had them mass produced, and sold them for $200 a pop. You know, there's just so many different ways they could market their brand better.
There's a huge figurine collector market, like that Nicol Bolas statue. People that are enjoyable, you know, in that type of statuette. You know, the not $19 action figure. People who are spending $199.99 to get something that will sit in an acrylic cube forever and ever. And Magic the Gathering could certainly do a hot Chandra that does something like that. I mean, her on that new motorcycle doing the Akira slide, boom, sell that in a light up diorama. People will pay $250 for it. There are suckers born every day.
I'm just saying that, you know, they need to, and you and I are certainly not going to come up with, you know, ways to help ambassadorize their brand.
Yeah, right.
But, yeah, I agree with you, Jeremy. I mean, that's
Lego sets. Oh, dude, just lean into it the other way. Make it adorable as shit, and just have little Lego sets. And it's like,
they got enough chibis already.
Zombies.
They got the chibis, but not the bobbleheads, and they already know somebody over there at Funko Pop.
Yeah, I mean,
you know, but it's a problem. I think again, and I keep coming back to this with all the problems that I've had for the last few years. And that's a problem with management. Like, it's just, you know, I want the brand to do well.
The next, although maybe I'm just hopeful. Maybe I'm just, you know, on the good stuff tonight. But I think we got a good year coming down the pipeline here in 2025. Honestly, seeing that there's almost 2 months after the release of Aether Drift, 2+ months to the next release. I think that's a good thing. It's going to be the not Final Fantasy. It's going to be the Dragons of Tarkir set. Not made for me, but it is a big nostalgia point. I think there's going to be a lot of power creep in it. Ugin's coming back. Big freaking dragons. It's going to be dumb. I think that there are going to be huge numbers for Final Fantasy and Spider-Man. I don't know what the Universes Beyond is. Nobody does. Nobody knows shit. Go watch a video about it. But I think 25 is going to be a really good year for Magic because their pacing is a little bit more acceptable to the market.
Well, and they can't just, you know, 180, you know, from
the
previous management's faux pas, right? Like you can't turn a ship that fast. It's way too complicated. But, you know, hopefully they are trying to fix what I perceive as damage that they've done in the last 5 years.
Ooh, Bob, Jeremy wants to know, how do you feel about Wizards of the Coast with most of their standard and, you know, tempo releases? They're going to be doing 2 Commander precons instead of 4.
I don't like it.
Yeah,
I think they should return to the 1 Commander deck set per year.
Oh,
And it should probably revolve around one of the Universes Beyond's releases.
one per year. Interesting.
One per year. Put decent staple cards in them once a year.
Okay.
That'd be a great spot for a lot of the reprints, necessary reprints.
Make them premium products.
Sure.
Similar to like the Commander Master ones where they were like 100, 150 bucks.
And honestly, I think it should be 5 decks. I like the 5 decks, but I think they should not release them with every set. I don't like that. It's like the guys trying to sell you, the new valve stems and the road hazard warranty and the wheel balancing and rotations and so $100 tire, you walk out of there paying $250 a tire. It's what they're doing with every set, right? They talked about cutting back the SKUs. We'll cut them back. Yeah. But just go back to some of the things that made Magic great in the first place. Make Magic great again.
Yeah, right.
So it's not MAGA, it's MAGA. MAGA.
So same thing for me. I don't think that going down from 4 to 2 Commander sets when they release them, I don't think that's a good idea. You need 4 people to play Commander. Seems kind of dumb. I think if they're going to release them, should be in packs of 4. I don't think they should be as common as they have been, but I also think that they can kind of stand aside. I like how they did the Warhammer ones. I like seeing them, but far too often, in my opinion, they don't always seem to work. I don't know why every set needs to get them. Every set shouldn't have them. So less is more sometimes.
Yeah, I think they should keep it like you said. It makes more sense to have 4 decks, especially for the groups out there that like to, hey, we're gonna, especially was it the Command Zone? We're gonna have 4 people sit down and play with the new set of Commander decks, but only 2 of us are gonna have new ones.
Yeah. Or what do? Save it? Okay, we've got 2 from 3 months ago, and now we've got 2 more. So we're finally gonna put out an episode.
But I like the idea of making them more special rather than more routine. Thank you.
And speaking of making things more special, shout out to Time Capsule shout out. We do, in fact, do a 30-minute minimum show for members only after we finish up here every single week. So we get to give a little bit something extra. We try and make it as cheap as possible. It is literally as cheap as possible. YouTube will not let you do less than 99 cents. So our lowest, cheapest membership, 99 cents a month. And you get 2 extra hours of content. We don't do it vertical like this. We actually go full horizontal. And because we're not monetized in those ones, we get to be a bit more direct with y'all. So, hey, we can see you there.
We can respond to you a little bit more in depth because, it's fewer people. We can get into topics you specifically want to talk about more. So you have more of our undivided attention. You get a little bit more of our unfiltered thoughts so that we don't get demonetized. And Raziel, if you're suggesting that they make an RTS Magic the Gathering, absolutely. Video games, multimedia, short videos.
I literally have a board game of Minecraft. Like there is certainly huge opportunities.
Histories of cards that are fan favorites out there, and going even more in depth to not even just like, for example, Fibblethip the Lost, Fibblethip, whatever, because there's multiple Fibblethip cards, and you could even create a small story, a very short story, 60 seconds, to explain that, like what Pat said, ending with the specific scenario in the art presented on a card.
Yeah,
and I think that could be something that would get great reviews. I think people would watch them. It's very digestible. It's in a format that's popular. But and how much would it really cost them for the amount of return?
Yeah, exactly. I think that's exactly it. It would be very little impact even if I were to try and do it. I mean, legitimately learn Blender. It's not that hard.
You can get AI to do it.
Yeah. Oh, dear sweet God. Yeah, we just start making Sora produce our videos for us. Well, hey, I mean, if you want more tasty talk like that, you'll have to join us in the after show. Bob, anything you want to say before we close out this evening?
Absolutely. Thank you, everybody, for your time here on Saturday night. We appreciate it. I know you got better things to do, or at least other things you could be doing, if not better. So we appreciate your time. We appreciate your support. And please consider becoming a channel member so that you can join us on all these after shows. Thanks for your time.
Until next week, take care, y'all. And this is where they get to see me dance.